Hello everyone, welcome back to SportsKhabri, Curious Harry and Arun Food. I'm Rahul. With me are Arnava and Hiren. Guys, we're here to discuss the Super Cup. Of course, there's been a lot of sport in the last couple of days. Yesterday was sort of the perfect day if you were a sports fan. I woke up in the morning, saw West Indies sort of create history. They won their first test in Australia after 27 years. Then Yannick Sinner came from 2 sets down to beat Daniil Medvedev in the Australian Open final. That was great. And of course, we had the Super Cup final, which was a dramatic game to say the least. East Bengal finally winning that game 3-2 in extra time. So I think first, I just want reactions from both of you to the Super Cup final itself. One of a huge victory for East Bengal because we were discussing that this was the second final they had made this season. They were doing a few things right, but they were not getting a few things right in the ISL. Would they be able to sort of go on and win this competition? Eventually, they showed that they did, they could, and they eventually did. So, your reactions and your thoughts after the game?
Good evening, everyone. Big game. If you look at that match, it had everything that I think a football fan hopes and dreams about in a 120-minute clash. And in the end, it looked like East Bengal wanted it a little bit more than Odisha, and it's a big thing for this institution, East Bengal FC, as it's now called in its new avatar, and it's important also sort of in regard to the bragging rights against Mohun Bagan. I think that's something that East Bengal has fallen behind quite a bit in the last few years, and this is something which is very important. And Carlos Kudrat once more shows that he's a coach who can, especially in these cup competitions, get the best out of his teams. So that's another sign that I saw.
Any particular, Hiren, did you notice any sort of style of play that East Bengal have sort of carried on, or what did you observe in terms of tactical approach that Carlos Quadrat had in this game?
I think we all know his playing style. Playing style. I think he is you can say a little bit defensive manager who
Hmm.
like his defense is solid, and then he tried to work on the counter and set pieces. And कल भी वो देखने को मिला. I think that Pardo shot in the first half set piece में that was a brilliant shot. Other than that, I think a few of them are really good chances. So I think overall, this that's the Carlos Quadra style, and as you also know in PFC, he likes to play in that way. I think that is the thing. But I think the most important thing for me, I think the way he made the substitution at the halftime. I think those Noremas and Lal Chundunga substitution was really important because Xavier Severio is not making that much impact in the first half. So the front line needs to be someone who can provide you from the wing also. And that through ball from Noremas was a brilliant. And Nanda Kumar has a you can say a beautiful finish. So I think in game management, I think Carlos Quadra did a better way. And I think Sergio Oliveira, in a way, I think no doubt Odisha FC is a great side, but I think they are lacking a quality Indian players on the bench. To be honest, I think if you see in 120 minutes, they're only able to manage to substitute three players. So he's you can say not has that kind of confidence on the young players as Carlos Quadra had in their bench because we see in PV Vishnu, then he coming Shreyan Banerjee, other couple of players, VP Soher also last get the chance. So in this kind of matches in final, and if we are playing extra time, then this substitution become a really important. And somewhere I think Odisha FC lack in that thing, and also Mortada Fall get red card, so that also affected their game plan in the second half. But I think overall, East Bengal were a little bit better team, and I think it's a game of you can see margin of error. Who make less mistakes and आई थिंक वो हमें देखने को मिला दोनों साइड ने आई थिंक चांसेस काफी बढ़िया बनाए ओडिशा एफसी ने भी अगर आप देखें थ्रू आउट द मैच they also created some really good chances one or two really good shot from the Rohit Krishna so I think clinicality wise I think East Bengal were better and they handle the pressure really well I think somewhat I feel कि उनके प्लेयरों ने थोड़ा सा काम कंपोजर ज्यादा दिखाया compared to Odisha FC and that's why I think that last mistake from Narendra Gehlot also is
Hmm.
costly. So I think overall, I think and just example like East Bengal is more you can say hungrier to win this match.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talking points in this game. Arkan saying that Carlos Kodrat is a cup manager. I think I've always felt that even from his time at BFC, although he did win the ISL, it was a very defensive approach, relied a lot on
But
set pieces, and
but
he
yeah,
was a
ISL
big guy.
was a cup competition, right, at that
Yeah, yeah,
stage,
yeah,
right?
true,
Competition.
true.
So
Yeah,
that way he is a cup manager, right? So yeah,
yeah,
I mean he reached the Dual
yeah.
Cup final as well, no?
Yeah. Anova,
uh,
but again, I think to be fair to him, if I'm not wrong, that season BFC finished first or second. So, I mean, I think kind of shows that even if you play a defensive style, you can rack up points um, and sort of go all the way. Again, I don't know if he's going to do it with the East Bengal team. It's going to be interesting to see. But I know a lot of sort of key moments in that game. Um, I think the first was we have to talk about Odisha's high line and something that they've persisted with throughout the season. That you saw Nanda score the equalizer for East Bengal, and that sort of came from that high line, playing it through the defense. And when you're through one on one, it's you back the sort of man going in to score. And do you think that has been sort of Odisha's downfall as well, the playing the high line?
Um, Before this match, you would have said no because
Yeah.
they've been on a 15-match unbeaten run. So again, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Again, one of the best players on the field, I would have thought, because of that high line, was Amay Ranawade. You know, who really, I mean, with a little bit of luck, he could have actually scored an equalizer when that ball hit the
Mm.
post. So it has its positive and its negatives. So therefore, I think you win them, some lose them. I think the more important thing yesterday was the way that Shoaib Chakrabarti played against Ahmed Jahu. I think that was to some extent more important. And despite sort of the bulldozing of Diego Mauricio and and Roy Krishna trying his things, they were not clinical when they got their chances. At the start, you would have said East Bengal was the better team. East Bengal in the first half an hour was really better. Then slowly Odisha got into the game. Odisha could have been 2-0 up at the break. They didn't take it. Then they're suddenly behind. And then it's about catching up. And there I have to say that I was impressed with, even with 10 men, which where I said to someone in the family who's a hardcore East Bengal fan, I said, you know what? I think East Bengal now, they were whining before the final, saying, you know what, this match is fixed. We will lose, right?
hmm.
And that Borja Herrera penalty, which is never a penalty. I mean, that's a yellow card for the striker because there's no contact whatsoever. That is one of the most crucial elements of the game. So, and that follows up if you give that foul and the penalty and the card, and then Murtada Fall gets another yellow card a few minutes later. You know, that adds up, and so therefore, again, and I've said this multiple times that the referees are making mistakes left, right, and center, right? So therefore, to me, it's like some people were talking about Mumbai City, Odisha in the semis. Mumbai City have only themselves to blame, even for the cards. You don't do that. And I think I found it strong that Mumbai City yesterday came out with a strong statement, which rarely an Indian club actually makes, in regard to that behavior. So therefore, those are the things. But afterwards, the weird one was Odisha really tried to get that 2-2, try to get that 2-2. But on the other side, uh, uh, East Bengal had that. Of course, they had Clayton Silva, but they also had this something in extra time where you felt is they'll get something out of this. East Bengal will get something out of this. So therefore, in the end, it's a big win. I mean, if you've seen the pictures of the team arriving at Namdam Airport today, it means a lot to the fans of East Bengal to have won a trophy, a national level trophy, after 12 long years. So I think it's for the heart of the soul of the East Bengal fan. This is a very, very big thing.
Yep. I mean, there must be optimism, and there are sort of now Joel's asking, can East Bengal win the ISL. Now, let me just twist that question a little. Herein, if they sneak into the top six, which is a possibility, how far do you see them going?
Then I think then they came into the, you can say, cup competition more. Then I think Carlos Vidrat has their magic. So definitely then they have a very good chance to get into the final or something, win like that. But I think they have a very good score, and one of their biggest positive is their Indian players. I think they have a good foreigners, but I think uh, the thing that working for them right now is Indian players, and I think one or two signings they have made in this January transfer window. So that's also interesting one. So overall, I think I'm really excited to see how they are going to carry forward this momentum in the ISL, and can they qualify for the playoffs. I think if they can qualify, then I think it will be for any above their teams, above ranked teams. I think it will be difficult to beat East Bengal, because in cup
Okay.
competition we already see they have a very good side, because they have a clear plan. I think for East Bengal, and definitely I think if they qualify for playoff, then I think they can beat anyone.
Yeah. Yep. Anava, you agree? You think East Bengal have a good chance if they make the top six?
The top six race is a crazy one at the moment, I think, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think the top five is sort of fixed, and that last spot, and East Bengal is in the mix, Chennai is in the mix, BFC is in the mix, Northeast, I think, could be interestingly in the mix. Jamshedpur looked quite good in the Super Cup. Even Punjab FC didn't look bad. So potentially all these clubs have an opportunity, and I think it will run down to the last day. So therefore, for me, is very clear that the top six race is going to be interesting, as will be who will win the ISL Shield, right? I think that's going to be a very interesting one as well, because it's advantage Goa, but Goa, of course, has lost a few players due to injuries now, and that will be very interesting to see how they replace it. I mean, they're set to. I mean, interesting one is Borja Herrera is set to replace Victor Rodriguez at Goa. I mean, that's an interesting one. Yesterday win the Super Cup, and 2-3 days later you sign for another team. And how you're going to replace Sandesh Jingan, because this whole Sana situation doesn't seem to be clear. Will be very interesting to see how they how these teams settle down, because I remember there was a lot of talk before the transfer period. There will be tons of transfers, loads of transfers, as if teams are going to be
Yeah.
switching half of their squad. And like in European football, we've seen very few transfers in India as we've seen in the rest of the world. So therefore, I think again we've got 2 more days to go, but I don't think that there will be those big transfer moves. I mean, if you see Kwame Petra
But
is injured,
sir,
what we do? They bring Justin Emmanuel in, who is actually a Blasters player and was on loan at Gokulam Kerala. So you're not
but
actually, yeah.
But most of the transfer are due to the forceful transfer, where player is injured, and that's why they signing one or another player. So I think
That's what I'm
in
saying. No,
terms of the
there are no sort of tactical structural transfers where you say, you know what, I'm trying to improve, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, because the market has become such that if you
mm,
want Indian players, the club who's selling the player is asking for a ridiculous transfer fee
Mm.
because
transfer.
they don't want to release the player, right? So therefore the market has become such that it is difficult for you to operate. Amal is saying Sana to BFC, so that seems to be stuck now because he's gone to the AFF because of his non-payment of salaries, and in the worst case he'll be stuck for a few weeks with that. So I don't know if Sana to BFC is going to happen within the window or not, or if he's
Mm.
a free player and he can even go in February or in March to BFC. I don't know. So these are the structural problems that we see. I mean, Hyderabad is a very interesting thing that they've released a few players, but again, where does it take us, right? And um, the talk of Mumbai City most probably releasing Royston Griffiths after what he did in the semis. Will be interesting to see what happens. The next 2 days are going to be very interesting.
Yep. Is it probably down to also the fact that these clubs have gone big in the summer and now it's you're also sort of strained and you don't have the cash to sort of splash in the winter transfer window? Do you think clubs should sort of taper down a little in the summer, guys?
Clubs have spent a lot of money. Clubs have spent a
Yeah.
lot of money, and you don't know what the future of this league the future of Indian football is, right? So these are all factors in where people will think now twice, thrice before actually spending extra money.
Yeah.
So that's a factor. I mean, it's the same thing now for East Bengal in the next summer. East Bengal will need to bring in players if they want to be successful in the ACL 2 preliminary round qualifiers. They will have to strengthen, So therefore, that's going to be very, very important.
Yep. Guys, again, back to the game. Another important decision was, of course, Murtada Fall's red card, and then going to extra time. They've sort of scored even with 10, but Hiren, do you think Odisha would have provided more of a threat with 11 on the pitch? And do you think it was a red card in the first place? Do you think the bookings were justified?
आई थिंक मतलब एल्बो कोई लोग बोल रहे, बट मेरे को थोड़ा सा वो शो सेकंड येलो कार्ड एंड वो आई थिंक डेफिनेटली मुर्तजा फॉल बाकी बचे मैच में होते, डेफिनेटली इट विल बी अ मोर इम्पैक्टफुल एंड मे बी हम सबको पता है कि उसकी जो गोल स्कोरिंग एबिलिटी है, स्ट्राइकर को अभी वो टक्कर दे रहे, तो सेट पीसेस एंड कॉर्नर में ही विल बी ही वाज गोइंग टू बी द रियली क्रूशियल मैन। एंड आई थिंक 2-3 कल मेरे को मतलब पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट याद है कि जहाँ पे ओडिशा एफसी को क्लियर कॉर्नर थे वो भी रेफरी ने नहीं दिए थे, तो वो भी कहीं ना कहीं आपका एक सेट पीसेस जो थ्रेट है आपके पास, वो भी कहीं ना कहीं मतलब वो मुर्तजा फॉल के बाद ज्यादा इंसिडेंट हुआ, बट आई थिंक that was a very little bit harsh goal, and if he was in the pitch, I think definitely he would make a difference.
Yeah, no, I agree with Murta, because when I looked at it as well, I think I thought maybe it's a little soft, but I think the way Murtada Fall was sort of reacting to the referee, I think it was not once; it happened once more before that. Do you think that sort of probably played on the referee's mind as well? Do you think that plays on referees' minds in general, Ranova? Like the way players react to decisions, the way they sort of communicate with referees during a game?
I still go back to the penalty. About the second yellow card, I don't think there's a discussion. I think the elbow goes up and he hits him.
Okay.
Again, you can discuss if he's hit first by Borrera into his side or not. That maybe that's a discussion. But if your elbow's up, it's a yellow. We need to discuss the first one because he was given, and it's that's the problem, right? If you don't give the first one, you don't come into this situation because the second one is justified. Very simple.
Okay. Yep. Akash was saying elbowing is.
What about that situation? नहीं, एक सिचुएशन जो नंदा को के ऊपर टैकल किया था, पेनल्टी नहीं दिया. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, it's a penalty, but again, we are talking about errors, and again, there is a perception that certain clubs are being favored by referees, right? And that perception was broken yesterday, in my opinion, at least from an East Bengal standpoint, right? Because East Bengal fans, again, that there are other fan groups as well who say, listen, we don't this, that, everything, as if, the referees are making mistakes with every team, period. And if you want other referees, I don't know how you're going to clone them, you're going to grow them, what you're going to do, but we will have to live with these referees. And I don't know how much improvement is in. It's the same thing as with our players. You want something else, get it in. And foreigners, it makes us. I don't have a soft corner. I just live in reality. What is the problem? Where are we going to get better referees? Tell me. Any one of you, tell me one option how we're going to get better referees. Then also tell me how we're going to get better national team players. Because I tweeted it to her. The more I'm watching Asian Cup, the more embarrassing our performance is becoming. So how are we going to improve?
Yeah.
The standard of football in India is an end product of the shittery that has been going on for the last 100 years. Let's be honest about it. It's not since yesterday. We've been lying to ourselves that football, yeah, football, whoa, wow, all these big talkers who are there. And Joel, it's not in a funny way, it's in a serious way. Right? The issues are there. I live in reality. It doesn't matter if the referee is doing a mistake against A, B, C, D club. He does it with every club. That's the real problem. And the referee in that situation, Borja Herrera, I thought he was in the view that he could see that the guy's taking, waiting for touch, doesn't come and then lies down. These are realities. I
Yep.
don't live in a dream world. I'm not blinded by things. I see things in a dream world. No, I see things that are the way they are. And if it has to be said, it has to be said. That's why I said last summer, right? We are nowhere near where our coach is saying that we are with the Indian national team. Same thing. Why was the Super Cup so interesting yesterday? Because you were allowed to play with 6 players,
Yeah.
6 foreigners on the field. That was the huge difference. That was why this game was so good. You have 12 foreigners at the start of the game on the pitch.
Yeah. I know, and Hiren, guys, it's a very important point. Something that I've noticed a lot, and I absolutely don't like it at all, which is players' conduct towards referees is extremely, extremely poor. I think it must be said because Sharon points out a
That
very, very valid point. Um,
that
we have to be seeing more reds. I mean, I think if the referees they should probably, I don't know what else can be done about this. What do you think can be done other than sort of dishing out cards in the game? What do you guys think we can do to sort of solve this issue? I'm speaking from a BFC perspective as well. I've seen Harvey do it. He's probably in the face of the referee for God knows what a lot of times, and it's not nice to see because you don't see this happening elsewhere, and it's a really big issue I think that we need to sort of solve. Yeah, Aaron.
Definitely, I think I completely agree with you. These are the same players in AFC Asian Cup. They behave a little bit in a better way, and in ISL they completely go, you can say, mad to the referee. So completely agree. I think that's where I think sir ने बोला ना कि the improvement अब कैसे करोगे? That is the big question. If you give a more power to referee, then I think this public perception, coaches continuously making statement against the referee. These are the all the things I think is coming into the picture. जिससे I think रेफरी के ऊपर भी उतना प्रेशर रहता है, सारी चीजें हैं, एंड प्लेयर को भी पता है कि फैंस आर बिहाइंड अस, सो इफ वी डू समथिंग लाइक दिस, आई थिंक रेफरी विल बी क्वेश्चन, एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस थिंग आई थिंक इज ए कलेक्टिवली यहाँ पे आती है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई थिंक ये सिनारियो हमें देखने को मिल रहा है. आई थिंक जब तक यहाँ पे वो कमांडिंग रेफरी आप डेवलप नहीं कर पाओगे या फिर नहीं ला पाओगे, आई थिंक दिस सिचुएशन विल नॉट गोइंग टू बी चेंज. आई थिंक जितना ज्यादा फैंस का, कोचेस का, आउटसाइड का प्रेशर रेफरीज के ऊपर बनता रहेगा, उतना ही ज्यादा आपके प्लेयर्स और ज्यादा वोकल होते जाएंगे. एंड दैट्स व्हाई हम देख रहे हैं कि सिचुएशन, आप देखिए इस सीजन कितनी बार लड़ाइयाँ हुई है. अदरवाइज जनरली एक काफी इतनी ज्यादा नहीं देखने को मिलती. बट आई थिंक इस बार आप देखिए, मे भी तीन तो मेरे को मुंबई सिटी के ही मैच याद आते हैं. अदर देन दैट 2-3 मैच और है. सो आई थिंक टोटल 5-6 मैचेस में ऐसा हुआ है कि लास्ट में कंप्लीटली, मतलब अब देखिए लास्ट मैच में रेफरी को एस्कॉर्ट करके लेके जा रहे हैं. सो जनरली मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि और किसी जगह पे होता नहीं है, होता है, बट इतना फ्रिक्वेंटली और इस तरह से, मतलब आई थिंक दैट समथिंग नीड्स टू बी डेफिनेटली सीरियसली, इस चीज को यहाँ पे लेना चाहिए, एंड किस तरह से रेफरी का भी एम्पावरमेंट होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं होना चाहिए, आई थिंक उनको भी वो मौका मिलना चाहिए. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज समथिंग वेरी वेरी सीरियस. आई थिंक जिस तरह से प्लेयर का कल भी हमने देखा, कंप्लीटली एग्री विथ यू.
And I
आई
think
थिंक
yesterday,
जोएल भाई ने जो बोला, आई थिंक नहीं, जोएल भाई ने जो एक चीज बोली, आई थिंक कंप्लीटली एग्री. इसमें जो कोचिस का रोल है मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट लगता है. पीटर पेटकी ने जो बोला कि इफ दिस ग्रुप इज डूइंग कंटिन्यू लाइक दिस, देन दिस इज नॉट माय ग्रुप. कंप्लीटली एग्री. आई थिंक दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन फुटबॉल. हम सबने देखा है कि क्रिकेट में जैसे कैप्टन का रोल, एटमोस्फियर ड्रेसिंग रूम में किस तरह से उसकी टीम बिहेव करेगी, वो मैटर करता है. उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट यहाँ पे फुटबॉल में हम सबको पता है कि कोच एंड मैनेजर का रोल है, कि किस तरह से वो अपनी टीम में एटमोस्फेयर क्रिएट करता है, किस तरह से वो प्लेयरों से वो क्या बोलते हैं कि सारी इंस्ट्रक्शन, सारी चीजें होती है, कमांड कितना होता है उसका, तो किस तरह से वो सारी चीजें, आई थिंक वो मैटर करता है. तो इसमें कोचिस का रोल मेरे को ज्यादा लगता है कि अगर प्लेयरों की ओर से जो बिहेवियर आ रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं उसमें उनका भी सबसे बड़ा रोल है.
yep, yep. Anwa, I'm not sure. Yesterday, I think somebody laid a hand on the referee, if I'm not wrong. I just can't remember who.
ये मुर्तदा फुल ने
Ah, it
रखा
was
था.
Murtada Fall. Yeah, it was Murtada Fall.
मुर्तदा फुल ने रखा था. पर तुरंत आई
Surely,
थिंक डेलगाडो या फिर डिएगो मोरिशो आ गए और उसको बाहर वो दूर लेके चला गया.
but surely there must be some repercussion, right? At least from the tournament side, at least to sort of fine these players or give them bans if necessary, because touching the referees, nudging them, that's simply not acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Vapes, the referee seems biased towards Odisha. Why would they be escorted out? It's very simple. Very simple. It's an AFF tournament. It is not a tournament organized by Odisha FC. So that's your first problem, first mistake of thought. You know, and this is something again that then the respect needs to be there from the players, from also a number of coaches. There's a number of coaches who, in my opinion, are not showing the right level of respect to the referees. And then the AFF needs to go and start. And again, they've started showing yellow cards for dissent, which I feel is good, because otherwise that level of respect will not be there. The ref, again, I can't change the referee. I'm annoyed with referee mistakes as well. But again, he is the person that you need to respect, who's in the middle of the field, who is the deciding factor on errors and mistakes in regard to match.
Yeah.
And the point is the same thing as I feel with our Indian players who where social media is rather harming them, where they think they're better than they are. It's the same thing with the referees, where the players think, you know what, social media is having a go at the refs, I'll do it on the field. I think social media, the fans also have a role to play. And not only a negative role to play in regard to I criticize anything and everything. People were criticizing referees in the Asian Cup. And like, guys, it doesn't matter. One wrong throw in here, there. Like the female referee who was there between India and Australia, there was a wrong throw in, and people were talking about it. And like, yeah, is it going to change the outcome of the match? And the topic of foreign referees were raised. Again, it's a question of cost, and we have, again, are you going to build season, to run a season? So
Yeah. Yep. But again, guys, in terms of where these clubs go for East Bengal, huge is Arnava. I mean, historically, what does it mean for East Bengal to win this title? Does it sort of turn their fortunes around? Something they haven't sort of experienced success for a while now. Do you think this sets them on their course to success again?
it's a stepping stone. It is not that they are there where they used to be. Because for East Bengal to really be East Bengal need to win an ISL title, I feel. I think that for me, that is very, very important, that for East Bengal really to be, where the club used to be. And the last time was in 2004 that they won the NFL. They need to be able to challenge for an ISL title. But for that, be it Carlos, or if things change in the next 2-3 years, the club needs to maintain its core and then build further on it. I think that's very important. It's important for the club in the next 2-3 transfer periods to be able to hold on to a Mahesh, to hold on to a Nalchununga, to hold on to a Gill, and then bring in other players as well to strengthen them. I think that's very, very important for the club. The club at the moment is on a good trajectory, but for them, it's very, very important to go to the next level. And that's the challenge for East Bengal, because you have now established clubs. You have Mohun Bagan, Mumbai City, as I would say, as the established clubs. You have FC Goa, Odisha, and Kerala Blasters, who are sort of in pursuit of these few. So, out of a 2-way, you've got now a 5-way race. And East Bengal will want to get into that. And as important as it is important, but and this is an important step, but for the next step, you need a little bit more, and that is something where you then also need to spend. And that's the question: is after this win, is East Bengal's investor ready to put in substantial more money?
Yeah. Harsh also saying, I think echoing what Arnava just said, they need to win the league. They need an ISL title probably to really establish themselves. Citing Manchester United example, they won the Carabao Cup last year, but you can see what they're doing in the league this year. So it's that's how it is with cup competition. But Hiren, did you see East Bengal sort of winning a trophy this year before the start of the season?
नहीं, to be honest, I think definitely मतलब आई थिंक नए सारी चीजें काफी सारी चीजें उन्होंने इस समर ट्रांसफर विंडो में चेंज की थी। कोचिंग स्टाफ से लेके प्लेयरों में भी आप देखिए 10-12 प्लेयरों को आई थिंक उन्होंने रिलीज किया था। सो कंप्लीट मेकओवर किया था उन्होंने एंड वो कहीं ना कहीं आई थिंक मतलब लगता है कि ट्रांजिशन सीजन रहेगा, लेकिन आई थिंक कार्लोस कुद्रात पुल्ड अप ए वेरी गुड टीम एंड some of the very interesting signing Hizazi I think is one of the crucial signing for me I think in foreign signing अगर आप बात करें। Clinton Silva last season was good. Doremus breakout season last season. लालचुंग मुर्मा का भी breakout season था। So 3-4 आपके core player थे जो last season अच्छा किए थे। बाकी आप सब I think Borja Herrera done well for last year हैदराबाद FC के लिए। Saul Crespo was good. Then you had a Sovic and I think एक अच्छा mix-up उन्होंने बना के I think definitely इस season जो काम किया है that's a really great thing. But I think the most important thing is the consistency. How you can consistently perform on this level. I think that is the big challenge because as mentioned sir, there is a 4 or 5 teams who can above your level or you can say at your level. So I think it would be a constant pressure. It's just not like you win a one trophy and you are completely you can say relaxed. I think it will be keep coming. I think now fans expectation is more high. As sir mentioned, if you win Super Cup now, fans are expecting you have to win ISL. You have as Mohan Bagan fans expecting they have to win AFC Cup, but unfortunately that's not easy for any team. To be honest, so I think that is the big pressure in a big club. You constantly, as I am facing with my club also, with the fans and media pressure. If you see, so they always want a maximum output, but you can't deliver every time. So that is the challenge for East Bengal, how they going to manage the consistency uh, as you can say remain on those top 3, top 4 club.
I know another big sort of important moment in that game was, of course, that mistake from Narendra Gehlot. Uh, what do you do in those sort of situations? I mean, it's a big crunch moment. What do you would you pin it down to the youngster sort of is inexperience at the end of the day, or do you think the past shouldn't have come to him at that moment? What do you put it down to?
Very simple, trying to play out of the back. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
football is very simple. Let the goalkeeper whack the ball away. Very
Yeah.
simple. Your players are even, of course, he's a substitute. All I understood, he's not played, that many minutes. But sometimes it's just, and I watch teams also. Again, it doesn't matter if it's my local club here in Remscheid who like to play from the back, or Bayern Munich, or the German national team, or the big clubs across Europe. Sometimes you say, just get the ball out of the way. Why are you playing that square ball where you put your defender under pressure and the goalkeeper is not in his position? If the goalkeeper is in goal, that goal most probably will not happen. But Mawaya has gone to the side, is playing it to the other side, and this guy loses, which can happen. So my thing is sometimes, to me, is especially in an extra time, you have to play smart football. And I think the first thing to ensure is, of course, you want to win, but the first thing you need to ensure is not to concede. At least get to penalties. And that is the challenge that I see, the way a lot of teams like to play. And again, if I was having this conversation with Sergio Lobera, I would say no, I'll ask the goalkeeper and the defender to do the same thing the next time. Yeah, but Narendra is not a Barca defender or a Bayern Munich defender or a Man City defender, right? At the end of the day, he's still an Indian defender. So these things you have to keep in mind. And the point to me, which is very important, is that Clayton Silva is a poacher. He knows that these kind of situations could arise, and he was there, and he got the ball in. That's the that's the challenge. And just now, Palestine have scored against Qatar.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
again another upset, Kazakhstan.
I mean, that's why I said earlier today, right? I mean, the more I watch of this Asian Cup, the more I realize how bad we were. Today, Iraq, Jordan, what a match. Jordan
Yeah.
leading, Iraq turning it around. Jordan in injury time, 2 goals and winning 3-2. Yesterday, Tajikistan reaching the last 8, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and still you have not hit anything from the AFF.
Yeah, exactly, sir. That is my point.
That is
Not a
my
single
disturbing
statement.
point. There is nothing that has been said, and it's been 6 days since this really, really embarrassing exit.
Not a
So
single
and
statement from the official pledge from the president, and I think that proves the point कि I think जैसे हमने I think just after the FCS Cup की बात की थी कि they are in apathy mode कि they didn't think about this tournament, and they before the starting they expected that this kind of thing will happen. Our focus is World Cup qualifiers. So that's a ridiculous thing, to be honest, and I think it's a shameful, to be honest. I think
the whole episode is shameful, and again,
mm,
it's you will discuss tomorrow matters regarding the secretary because you didn't fire him, so to say, in a proper way. You need to do that
proper
rather
way.
than discussing what is important, where do we stand, and again, to me, is very, very clear. Changes are needed. I see that the Blue Pilgrims are doing an AFF reform hashtag. Sorry, guys, you guys were there, the ones who called for these people to come in because the old regime was supposedly bad. So this is what you wanted. You got what you wanted, right? So therefore, you have to be smart in who do we want? Who do we want to run Indian football? We need people with, I think, certain traits. They need to love the game. Very simple. I think that's the key thing. They need to be professionals. There needs to be a level of integrity test. What the Premier League has now brought in. The Blue Pilgrims were never against the current regime. Just go back to the tweets of 2022. Then you'll realize what they were for. I just ask them. And to me, very important, knowledge, because you need to be able to convince people to go with you. You need a leader who actually goes in there and says, guys, we are in this together. We need to rejuvenate Indian football. The reality is whatever's happening, very nice, but it's not good enough. I was talking to someone today where I said, you know what? You guys are producing talent. What is the level of your talent? Right? Your level of talent production is Indian level. And that guy's watching Asian Cup, and then he's saying like, he's saying you need to create players who are better than what our level of football is, that they can go, that you can grow the game, right? And who knows the things, how to do it, and a lot of people who are, again, I always say, the people who are selling you that they are the solution, they're part of the problem. That's, again, for football fans, very difficult to understand if you are not really in the business of football. I think that's the biggest problem. And, no disrespect, but that's the problem. That's a real problem. That people, without the understanding and the knowledge of what needs to be done, either are saying what they think or are actually in positions of taking decisions, and that we will not go, so we, that is the biggest challenge, and that's the biggest challenge with the whole thing, and of course, politics on top of it in modern day India.
Yeah, no, and I think you guys have sort of nicely moved on to tomorrow's meeting. Anything else, guys, on the agenda apart from Shaji Prabhakaran's firing for the meeting?
That home game against कुवैत का वो बस वेन्यू डिसाइड करना है, बस यही चीज है. आपको इमरजेंसी मीटिंग आप सेक्रेटरी जनरल को हटाने के लिए बुला सकते हो, बट दिस फेलियर, दिस ह्यूमिलिएशन के लिए आप ये इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुला के आप सजेशन नहीं ले सकते आपके एक्सको से, आपसे मेंबर से कि भाई हमारा ये फेलियर हुआ है, हमें आगे क्या क्या चेंजेस तुरंत करने चाहिए ताकि हम 2027 में एटलीस्ट इससे बेटर प्रिपेयर होके जाए, जिसमें आपके यूथ लीग स्ट्रक्चर आ जाता है, आपकी बाकी चीजें आ जाती है, जो कि नेक्स्ट सीजन से आप इम्प्लीमेंट करोगे, बट प्लानिंग तो अभी से होनी चाहिए, तभी जाके कर पाओगे. नहीं तो इस सीजन की तरह ही होगा कि आप जब डिमांड उठेगी तो आप कर दोगे कि यहाँ पे हम अंडर 17 लीग कर रहे हैं, इस तरह से हो जाएगी आपकी, बाकी टूर्नामेंट हो जाएगा, बाकी आपकी टीम खेलती रहेगी. सो यू नीड अ प्लानिंग. अगर आपको 2027 में आप कर रहे हो तो उसकी प्लानिंग अभी से स्टार्ट कीजिए. and वो all the front, ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ यूथ लेवल पे, आपकी सीनियर टीम में क्या क्या चेंजेस की जरूरत है, किसका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, सबसे बड़ा तो क्वेश्चन वही है। मैं इसीलिए इंटरेस्टेड हूँ कि कल की मीटिंग में क्या जो एक्सको मेंबर है, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ देम आर फॉर्मर प्लेयर्स, बाहर आके मीडिया में आप बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हो, कहाँ वहां पे क्या आपकी हिम्मत है कि उस तरह के क्वेश्चन आप पूछो कि भाई इसका क्या करना है? वहां तो आप भीगी बिल्ली बन जाते हो एक्सको। आपको जो मैटर सबसे ज्यादा पहली एजेंडा में होनी चाहिए वही होनी चाहिए थी कि भाई हमारा फेलियर हुआ है तो इसका रिव्यू किया जाए कि कौन कौन इसके लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, क्या क्या चीजें गलत हुई और क्या क्या अभी तुरंत ड्रास्टिक डिसीजन लेने चाहिए, वो डिस्कशन होना चाहिए। बट आपको बस यही फालतूगिरी करती रहनी है।
Yep, yep. Amal's asking meetings tomorrow. Anava, of course, Igor's team match has been a hot topic, as I think we've learned that it's not up for discussion tomorrow at least. Do you see any sort of discussion on the Igor's team match topic in the near future?
It should be. I know that certain people want to talk about it. The question is, will the topic be an additional agenda point, or will it be taken off it, or will it be kept off the agenda, right? And the point to me is, does anyone in that meeting really stand up for Indian football? You know, if one, this is very simple. Sometimes if one person stands up, the others will also stand up, and that's the question. There are people of honor in this group. I know that there are certain compulsions in being there and how it's done. You know, so therefore, you know, one has to wait and see what happens. But again, I think the performance. Surely someone will say that, you know, oh, you know what, the coach has still has to hand in his report. And you know what happened, what not happened. I think everyone saw what happened. Again, I don't need a report from a coach to
बट
tell me
नहीं
what
सर,
was right,
एक
what
एक
was
चीज,
wrong.
सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, एक चीज समझ में नहीं आती कि एक रिपोर्ट देंगे, दिस इज ये आप तुरंत जिस दिन आप बाहर निकले हो 23rd को सीरिया से, किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, चाहे बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो छोटा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो, ऐसा कोई फेलियर होता है तो सिंपल सा स्टेप होता है, नेक्स्ट डे समन करो आप कोच को, भाई आओ इधर और जवाब दो क्या हुआ है ये सारी चीजें। ये उसका वेट करेंगे, ऐसे ऐसे थोड़ी ना, आप बॉस हो कि वो बॉस हो, मेरे को तो ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा। टीममेट बोलेगा कि मैं अपना काम अरे भाई आजा इधर, सीधा वहां से क्रोएशिया मत जा, सीधा इधर आ, जवाब दे दे भाई कि ये क्यों फेलियर हुआ। आपको बोलना पड़ेगा ना, आप वो वेट करेंगे, एक वीक हो गया कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, ऐसे ऐसे तो कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मेरे हिसाब से तो नहीं चलता। एंड इधर बट ऐसा चल रहा है कि कोच यहाँ पे एएफएफ को नचा रहा है कि भाई मैं आऊंगा, मैं रिपोर्ट दूंगा, ये करूंगा, बस यही चल रहा है।
Yep, tough times, guys. Anything else you guys want to discuss on the IFF?
No, let's wait and see
कल
what
ही
happens
ज्यादा
tomorrow.
डिस्कशन होगा।
I think
हाँ,
tomorrow we'll see what happens. We'll have to wait and
Yeah.
see if something happens. So therefore, yeah, let's wait and see. I think there's been a lot of chatter here, there, and everywhere. I think but the chatter which happened, you know, online, it doesn't matter. You know, the decision needs to be taken in this body, and the interesting part is what, if any, and what decision is taken, right? So therefore, yeah, let's wait and see. Again,
It's
anything
going
is
to be,
possible, right?
yep, going to be interesting,
Or
going to be very interesting. Yeah, no.
I'm just saying there used to be that old Nike slogan, nothing impossible. So maybe that is something which we'll see tomorrow in some sort of form of way. You don't know what happens tomorrow. So this is again, we'll see what happens.
Just wanted to again, Vapes has a question. We'll just take this. I don't know. Could you help me with this? AFF have it in them to fire a coach whose contract they extended till 2026. Of course, they'll have to pay him a lot of compensation if they do terminate his contract. You think they have it in them, I don't know, to fire him? In them to fire
You
him?
can fire anyone, and you can fire anyone at any time. I think that question is out of the question. And I think even whatever the pay package you normally negotiate and then try to work out something. If Yuga Stimac is really, you know, loves India as he always says, then you know, then he would most probably come down and say, listen guys, you know, give me less and I'm gone.
1 रुपए भी नहीं छोड़ेगा, नो नो नो,
So
1 रुपए भी नहीं छोड़ेगा, वो तो भूल ही जाओ। एक रुपए भी नहीं छोड़ेगा और 6 महीने का कंपनसेशन है, ऐसा है न्यू क्लोज में, ऐसा बोल रहे हैं लोग।
So
कि
so
आप
but
अगर आप चेक करते
but
हो तो 6 मंथ
but
कंपनसेशन है टू पे।
so let's see what if they do it. But the point is that we are losing time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
by tomorrow it's going to be 1 week after that game. That's 1 week less than in regard to what is happening. And if we're looking for a new coach, then the process needs to be quick. Who could be potential candidates? Are we approaching coaches, or are coaches really, or agents sending in CVs? And let's see where we go with this, because again, this circus needs to end. I think that's very, very important. It's not taking us anywhere. There's no development to be seen. And I think, yeah, 5 years is going to be a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting what happens tomorrow, and we'll of course be here to discuss that. Hopefully, we get some developments and we have a better understanding of what is lying ahead, what lies ahead for Indian football, at least in the near future. Thanks, Anwa. Thanks, Hiren. Thanks, everybody in the chat for joining today. It was a nice little Super Cup final that we had yesterday. Of course, East Bengal winning that. Huge victory for them. Sets them up well for the second half of the ISL season as well. Yeah, guys, please do like and share these videos. Subscribe to the channel, SportsKhabri, Curious Harry, and Unfoot. Again, we are trying to retrieve our channel, and of course, we're trying to sort of spread the message. Do your bit, guys. I mean, if you can, please do share it on your socials, and hopefully, we can get through to somebody on YouTube and get it back. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in, and good night.
गुड
Good
नाइट
night,
गाइस।
everyone.